Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Yep, you heard it for weeks on end. They told us that Donald Trump was gonna tank the economy. I mean, they basically presented the Trump administration in the first couple of months as economic terrorists. They told you that tariffs would destroy trade, destroy the economy, that markets would crash, jobs would flee, and recession was unavoidable. It was right around the corner, and there was nothing you could do to stop it. They attacked this president, they mocked him, they ridiculed him, they dismissed him as a clueless blowhard who didn't know what the hell he was doing. And now, well, I guess it's all fallen apart and we have President Trump now standing at the podium, smiling, getting a real I told you so moment, doing a real victory lap here, and I'd say this one's well-deserved, not like Joe Biden and his preemptive victory laps that end up backfiring in his frickin' face. No, let's just say the media can't spin this one. Donald Trump is destroying the fake news media and all of their experts, and not with his words, not by telling them to F off, but with his actions and with his results. He's letting the results speak for themselves, and now he's getting his little well-deserved moment of glory. Yep, it's another embarrassing moment for the Democrat spin machine. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on and what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, I want to start off with this clip right over here.
Mr. President, a leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked because I've been going through abuse for years on this. Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
But Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars from China and a lot of other countries.
Finally, I mean, isn't it a breath of fresh air to hear a mainstream journalist in the White House press room finally ask a question that is rooted in reality rather than partisan spin? Quote, a leading global economist says your tariff plan may have outsmarted everybody. And Trump's response was, this is the best question I've ever been asked. Yeah, well, it's more like it's the first time President Trump has been asked a question in a positive tone. Usually it's, oh, Mr. President, please answer for all your crimes against the Constitution and the American people. Word on the street is you're literally a Nazi. Can you speak to that? Well, finally, we're operating in reality. And the reality is that President Trump is completely vindicated. I mean, absolute vindication. You know, we heard nothing but these brain-dead talking heads just parroting the same doomsday predictions and talking points. And well, now they look like complete and utter fools. The economy didn't crash. It's booming. The markets may have panicked for a little bit, but you know, we told you, don't be a panickin'. And now look, they're surging to all-time highs. And it turns out the tariffs didn't kill trade. No, they generated record-shattering revenue that Donald Trump is now channeling straight into America's booming economy. In other words, the plan seems to be working flawlessly. And it's gotten to a point where the success is so undeniable that even partisan hacks can no longer deny it. Well, that's most partisan hacks. We've still got characters like CNN's Abby Phillips, who just had to jump in and try to poison the moment as per usual.
Scott offered one explanation for the highs in the stock market. There are other explanations. Here's one from Jason Furman, an economist. The macroeconomy is doing decently, especially when it comes to tariffs. The market is now more confident that Trump will back off if necessary, he added. In April, I think the fear was that he would just plow ahead no matter what. Now there is a sense that there are realities that he won't try to blow past.
Exactly.
It's hard to argue, Scott, that that's not accurate when just this week, today, they're saying, oh, that 90-day deadline, we're just going to push it back out another 90 days. So the market's basically saying, oh, okay, they're just going to push it back.
Well,
whatever it takes to say Donald Trump is wrong, I guess that's what people will do.
Well, no,
even today.
Maybe you could argue that this is a negotiating tactic that is working fine. But the truth is, Trump is in fact backing down, and the markets have calmed because of that.
Yeah, he's doing what he thinks he needs to do with individual situations. And look also what's happening with individual companies. We had reshoring announcements this week. General Electric in my home state of Kentucky decided to reshore a bunch of jobs. The CEO of General Electric said the current policy environment is why we're doing it. So they're bringing a whole bunch of jobs from overseas back to the United States. You have announcement after announcement after announcement on top of these great gains in the market. Maybe sometimes the answer is, hey, maybe it's working. Maybe it's working.
But it's not.
But if you tell me you're...
Oh, well, there are other explanations. Yeah, you would say that Abby, you would frickin' say that. I think Scott Jennings hit the nail on the head by saying whatever it takes to say Donald Trump is wrong, right? And that's exactly what it is. I mean, that hit the nail so square flat on the head. It's a critical frickin' strike. No matter the evidence, no matter the data, no matter how clear the scoreboard is, these people are just so committed to pushing anti-Trump lies that they just can't give them an inch, even when the numbers are smacking them in the face. This is why I keep saying that Abby Phillips is the worst person on CNN. You know, again, she's constantly presenting herself as just a neutral journalist trying to do her job, just asking questions here, but it's very obvious what she's doing. In fact, what the media's been up to over the last couple of months has been very obvious. Every single day they said it's the end of the American economy. Markets crashed.
A wipeout. $2.5 trillion today gone in the rout on Wall Street in response to Trump's trade war against 185 countries.
Right now, we are at a decision-making point and very close to a recession.
The closing bell on Wall Street ending what has been a very tumultuous 2 days for the stock market. Another day of steep losses here after President Trump announced his sweeping tariffs. Millions of Americans obviously worried about rising prices.
The president has been largely out of sight today. He has been on the golf course.
I think we're jumping into recession. You never just glide in. We're going into it right now. You'll see housing continue to slow down given the elevated interest rate outlook. Investment spending is likely going to drop. I think employment will be the next thing that moderates. Job finding rates have collapsed. Quits rates are collapsing. I mean, this is it's not a good situation.
What started as an ugly day on Wall Street has turned downright hideous. Broad-based selling across the board, and you could call it a sinkhole that's opened up under the NASDAQ.
We are witnessing a market meltdown triggered by President Trump's historic trade war. CNN's gauge of market fear, it looks like that. It's been off the charts all day as Trump upends a century of U.S. trade policy and threatens to destabilize America's economy and the world.
You know, there was an obvious disconnect, and I've been saying it for months, and this is why I've been buying stocks like crazy over the last 2 months, especially when we saw that big dip, what these dishonest, corrupt talking heads were saying as opposed to what was actually happening. Well, there was just a chasm, a disconnect. Investment was flowing back in, inflation seemed to be easing, jobs coming back, factories humming again. I mean, we're talking about $12 trillion in foreign investment coming in over the next 10 years, and we were supposed to believe that that was going to result in economic contraction. That's just utterly insane. And honestly, the only way that you could fall for that stuff is either by being severely misinformed or highly emotional and susceptible to the narratives that they spin. But of course, we saw right through it. And I've been saying from the start, through all the noise, through all the attacks and all the partisan spin, this president stood firm, took the hits and just executed the plan. And now, well, I guess we're learning that tariffs weren't just a gimmick. It wasn't just about Trump's ego. And no matter how many times you invoke the words Smoot-Hawley, ooh, my Smoot-Hawley tariff act. My tariffs aren't free trade, no matter how many times you freaking say it. Well, it turns out it's not some magical Beetlejuice-style incantation that brings upon a recession. There's more to it than just tariff bad. And I guess Donald Trump outsmarted all the critics. He outsmarted all of us. No, you dummies, he outsmarted you leftist, legacy, mainstream hacks. And honestly, it's not exactly surprising these days, considering the majority of you have your heads shoved so far up your you-know-whats that, well, it just doesn't carry the same bragging rights anymore. Better question is, who's not outsmarting these supposed experts? Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.